As you probably heard, in 1616, Galileo was forced by the Catholic Church to recant his belief that the earth revolved around the sun. Most people think he came up with that theory. He didn't. It was Copernicus, but he was a big proponent of it. And the church felt at that time that it was contrary to the way that the Bible taught the universe existed. And so they made him change his position. Most people also know that Charles Darwin wrote in 1858 on the Origin of Species, which discussed the theory of evolution, presented that for the first time. And we all kind of have heard, even today, the rumblings about that and the problems that those have caused for people's faith. What a lot of people don't know is that Darwin developed the theory in 1838, published it in 1858. It took him 20 years to publish it, and he wasn't in a hurry. There are a lot of different factors that went into the publication date, but one of the main factors was that he was afraid of what it would do to people's faith. And so he intentionally held off. And he only finally published it when somebody else was going to, and he was worried that he was going to lose credit. Most people also don't realize that at the time of Galileo, all of the universities, which is where all the science was being done, were funded by the church. It wasn't until the Renaissance that scientific discovery kind of went outside the church. For the Middle Ages, the late Middle Ages especially, all of the scientific study was done, funded, paid for, and supported by the church. See, if you watch the news, if you listen to Bill O'Reilly, if you read the paper, you would think that there was this huge conflict going on in our society, where on the one side there are these secular humanists who are trying to completely get God out of everything, and on the other side there are these fundamentalists who want to insist in their way as being right, and there's no middle ground. If you watch the news, read the papers, that's kind of the way it looks. Well, that's not the way it works for most of us. I mean, most of us live with one foot in both worlds all the time. And it's comfortable. It works for us. All the headlines are about evolution stickers and creationist museums and things like that. But for you and me, faith and science, they both have an important place in our lives. And they can work together to deepen our lives and make it richer. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about faith and science. So I'd like to read for you from the book of Proverbs, which is a really great book because it's got little pithy sayings of wisdom that we can apply to our lives. And so I'm going to read this one for you 3 times. And each time I read it, I want to invite you to reflect on it, meditate on it. Let's have a time of quiet, a time of just, I want you to just listen and hear these words. When you hear the chime, we'll return to worship and we'll continue. Only simpletons believe everything they are told. The prudent carefully consider their steps. Only simpletons believe everything they are told. The prudent carefully consider their steps. Only simpletons believe everything they are told. The prudent carefully consider their steps.